one father went mad and took a shovel to the old training grounds. Hello everybody, welcome back to another Two Shadow production horror story, or 3. And tonight's horror, we'll be talking about the 3 most terrifying, worst war stories. If you haven't already, subscribing to the channel helps us a lot, as only 2% of people who watch our videos are actually subscribed. If you like the video and would like to see more like this, click that thumbs up. Let's begin. The trenches, remember. The trench was supposed to be empty. That was what the map said, what the lieutenant said, what the dead silence said. When we climbed down into it, the mud came up to our knees, warm, despite the cold rain. It smelled wrong. Not like rot, but like breath. As we moved forward, our boots began to sink deeper, as if the trench floor was slowly giving up and pretending it was solid. We found the helmets first, dozens of them. Then the rifles, stacked neatly against the wall, all facing the same direction. No bodies. Where are the men? Someone whispered. The answer came from below. The mud rippled, faces pressed up from beneath the surface, stretched and half-formed, mouths opening soundlessly. They weren't screaming, they were inhaling. The trench had eaten them, swallowed them during the shelling, and now it was breathing through them. The ground heaved and hands burst free, clutching our legs, our coats, our throats. They weren't trying to kill us. They were trying to pull us down so we wouldn't be alone. I escaped by crawling over the parapet, tearing my skin on barbed wire. When I looked back, the trench was smooth again, silent and patient. The next morning, Command marked it as secure. They sent more men. If you enjoyed that first story, this second story is more chilling. And once again, if you haven't subscribed, it would help a lot. Remember, 2% of people who watch these videos are not subscribed. If you like the video, click that thumbs up button, and let's continue with No Man's Shadow. During night patrol, we noticed it first as an absence. Moonlight fell across no man's land, silver and thin. But there was a stretch where the light simply vanished. No crater, no smoke, just darkness shaped like a man standing upright. We thought it was a trick of the eyes until it moved. It slid across the battlefield without sound passing through wire and wreckage, drifting toward the wounded who cried out in the dark. Wherever it touched them, their voices stopped mid-breath. In the morning, we found no bodies, only shadows burned into the ground, darker than the soil, shaped like soldiers reaching upward. The officers said it was exhaustion, shell shock, a shared hallucination. But the shadow kept coming back, night after night. It grew taller, broader, more defined. We realized then what it was made of. Not darkness, but the overlapping outlines of the dead, stacked together, fused into something that could finally stand. On the 7th night, the shadow crossed into our trench. I felt it pass through me. It was cold and heavy, and full of memories that were not mine. Final thoughts, unfinished prayers, terror frozen at the moment of impact. When it moved on, I was still alive, but I no longer cast a shadow. That is the end of the second story, No Man's Shadow. For the last time, if you enjoyed, please subscribe, and if you like videos like this, liking would let us know. Let's go on to the last story for tonight. The last letter home. The letters started arriving after the regiment was wiped out. They came neatly folded, unstained by blood or mud, each addressed in familiar handwriting. Mothers, wives, brothers, all received the same message. I'm alive. I'll be home soon. The army insisted it was a clerical error. No one wanted to believe otherwise, because the letters were warm to the touch, and they smelled faintly of soap and campfire smoke. Then people began writing back. That's when the replies came. The letters no longer spoke of homecoming. They spoke of cold earth pressing down, of lungs filled with soil, of men stacked in layers embers beneath the battlefield, like cordwood. They begged for forgiveness. They begged to be remembered. They begged for someone to come dig. One father went mad and took a shovel to the old training grounds. A wife clawed at a memorial stone until her fingers broke. Her mother dug in her garden every night, convinced the ground beneath her house was whispering her son's name. The letters stopped eventually. Not because the dead had found peace, but because there was no one left willing to read them. The war was over. The correspondence was not.